Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Glenda's Dragons Den. I want to take this moment to thank the audience, those people that come to us and watch us, whether today live or during the week. Those that love to like and share, please do so. So you have other people also enjoying our podcast. Um, Tonight we have a phenomenal special guest. She's the founder and CEO of Atom Wonder, which is a social media network app. And she's going to tell you all about it. And she's an author. She's written, of course, an author. She's also inventive by nature, and she's just one heck of a woman, which I am very proud to finally get to meet in person, even though we have conversed in LinkedIn and stuff like that. So, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you. So, tell the audience all about you and how you got to where you are.
All right. I feel that it came to the point that I realized that I need to do what I'm naturally inclined to,
Mhm.
which would be paying attention to natural patterns and observing and seeing what's up, pretty much.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so my experience with the interdimensional spiritual would pretty much had started since I was a little kid. I can remember,
Mhm.
and then I realized that there was something more to it. That's the reason why I started taking it a little bit more serious and applying this knowledge to something, I'd say.
Mhm. So, um, you have first-hand experiences on these other things. Let's just say that for now. You tell her. You tell her what it is.
Okay, so I think that as the majority of us, I was also raised within the bounds of the Christian religion and beliefs, but nothing personal to like any belief or religion. But that I noticed that there was something more to it,
Mhm.
and I started approaching from unbiased point of view
Mhm.
because as every scientific method and experiment, if you go with a preconceived notion of anything, you can actually, like, it's impossible to get what things are.
Right.
So I had to undress myself from those beliefs or some kind of preconceptions
Mhm.
and learn. So, like, to be very honest, the beginning, I didn't even approach the term interdimensional because I thought everything was some kind of like ethereal, spiritual. And honest to you, I noticed. Um, After a few years that what I was dealing with was way more than that,
Mhm.
to the point that I was being able to document physical the word anomalies
Anomaly.
and
We always have that day.
physical anomalies. And then there was, like, I don't know, I just noticed that there was more to it
Right.
physically.
Right.
And I started, like, for example, I feel that we all have that moment that we are neatedly seeing something,
Right.
and the people around us are parents but so
Right.
they can't.
Mhm.
So there was something that was kind of like, I know I'm not crazy. So I started documenting
Mhm.
videos, pictures, and to have actual, like, in the beginning, a personal north and bias. Hey, I'm not crazy,
Mhm.
because the thing is, I noticed that um, manifestations, they will present itself to the capability that we determine it,
Right.
right?
Very true.
Yeah. So if you determine that you need physical um, points to be able to observe and give a credit to something, those physical attributes will show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there is so much like, okay, things are spiritual, transcendental, yeah, but they are also quantum.
Mm-hmm.
And as every quantum matter, there is a manifestation as far as when it presents itself and relative to your perception.
Mm-hmm.
So, for you to be able to observe that, you need to be able to learn how to observe its patterns and how it correlates on the natural environment that you are.
Right.
Because there's no way that another element will present in your projection without interfering on your surroundings and the natural
Mm-hmm.
order of patterns of which were like which that the natural cycle of things are used to work, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Oh, it makes great sense to me.
Yeah.
This is one of those points where people don't realize that science, spirituality are basically combined. They're one. It's, a lot of people don't realize that matter, antimatter, cell, anti-cell, everything has its um, explanation in science. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer that you can prove anything that's spiritual scientifically. So,
Yeah, and that's true. So yeah, reason why I started documenting those and learning how to connect with those,
mhm,
because as humans we grow up, oh, we have four how do you call the five senses, six senses,
right,
but we actually have way more than that.
right.
So learning how to tune in to those to actually perceive what um, is above and beyond that. It took me, I'd say, actively about, it's been now about 20
Mhm,
years, I mean, 2 decades. And
right.
yeah, it's,
I
I
was
think,
going to say, you look very young for 20 decades.
no, but maybe.
Maybe. That's true. Hey.
But yeah, no, not, like it's been only about 20 so years that 20, I'd say 20 years that I'm actively engaging on studying and understanding. It actually started with the I'd say the dark arts. I don't know. So my family actually, both sides, but most actively on my mother's side, there is a history on um, active practice of mysticism,
Okay.
hermeticism, Kabbalah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always been very present. And I remember since I was a kid that a fun story. There was this lady that would always teach me things. And sometimes I would see this lady even when I was awake, which, you know, for a
Hmm.
kid, and I would comment with my mother. And there was a day that she asked, but how does this woman look like? And I described it, and then she said, "You're describing my mother." Hence, her mother had died. Anyways, when my mother was 12.
Oh, wow.
So there was no pictures of her around the
Right.
house or anything. And my mom's mother was the one that was actively practicing all of it. Like, hence to the point that there's stories that, like, we see in movies, that she would become invisible, and then for people, and it's true, and that happens. You see, I'm from Brazil. I was born and raised in Brazil, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. So the fact of religion and mystical practices, they are very
Intertwine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the the Christianism. We also have Spiritism. We also have religions that are mixed with African religious practices,
Right.
and that's so on. And like,
Right.
and I grew up. I'm glad and grateful that I grew up having the knowledge and
Mhm.
being able to learn about those. And that's very like, because you see, oh, but she would does a person like, yeah, there's things that, you know, and yeah, it's very possible. Like there's
Mhm.
prayers for that. There's some rituals that you can obtain certain
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and it's very real.
It
And
is. It is.
yeah,
Because it's all energy, right? No matter what they want to call it, it's all energy. If you're a practicing Catholic and you pray to the saints, you're still asking for energy for somebody to heal. So if you do Reiki, it's also the exact same thing. If you do also spiritualism, uh, not spirituality, but the religion spiritualism, it's also the exact same thing. So I understand. There's I believe all roads lead to the same place, and it's just you have to be open to all that to be able to see it. So what? How did you come about the idea for the app and all that?
all right. So it's been actually, because the thing is, at this present moment, I'm proud and glad that I could establish some direct communication with interdimensional source.
Right.
And there are things we learn, and there are things that we see the need for. So, about a year, almost 2 years before the idea of the app came up,
Mm-hmm.
I was under the understanding that I needed to um, get more close to people and understand what is that. Because the thing is, it's been about almost the same 20 years. I don't watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch the news. I pretty much out of how can I say, social sources of information, because I believe that that alters my perception when I
Right.
come to interact with things.
Right.
So the thing is, I actually got into a very famous social app
Mm-hmm.
and made wonderful friends that I even today talk with, even not being active on that app
Right.
right now. And I learned that there's a certain need of dedicated space
Mm-hmm.
that is free from algorithm discrimination or
Right.
description,
Right. Yeah.
that we can all learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually wasn't Aten Wonder. The name wasn't Aten Wonder before, but it came with the means of the soul name came with the means within a numerology meaning
Mm-hmm.
and what. So
Right.
I figured that we needed this space, and I don't know, I didn't know how to write code or anything. And right now we are pretty much on the 80% of the app me on me building it. And I do have the help of the so on the so on CTO of the now company, which is my husband, the best engineer, software engineer I've seen, of course, but not because he's my husband, but because he does work with that for living.
Right.
And we are very well. Wow, like thank you so much. So so yeah, out of the notion that we needed, I learned that we needed that space to
Right.
talk and learn and share, independent of social algorithms and what. So and
Right.
I saw that if it wasn't done, and I need to and I just had that in me. It's like, okay, let me do it, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Now, you wrote a book.
Yeah.
What was the book about?
Whispers of the Starry Night. So I don't know. One of those things. I'm a mother. I have two kids, two girls,
Mm-hmm.
and it came to the understanding that I'm very strong on the sense that I don't agree with indoctrination of
Right.
any sort. You
Mm-hmm.
notice that I'm very experimental, and pretty much my practices they are part of my day.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for you to separate one thing to the other when you just washing dishes and they say, hey, look outside, and I look through the window and there's a UFO there. Hey, what's up, so
Right.
yeah. So I was I'm very careful in what like he tells, because you never know people's individual path.
Right.
And like I said, I was raised in Christianity. I'm not saying that um, Christianity is that there's amazing things about love and understanding, and but I feel that there is also, depending on the religion that you're raised in, the denomination, there are some limiting beliefs that they literally limit you from understanding further.
Right.
And I had to address that. And it was very difficult, as far as when it comes to addressing fear of certain aspects of spiritism or
Right.
interdimensional contact. What actually are those beings? So like you have to have a clear mind,
Mm-hmm.
and undress yourself from some limiting beliefs to what that interaction and that experience could be.
Mm-hmm.
And there is actually it's hard and it's difficult, but like I said, so I thought about, okay, how can I do that? And I thought about this book talks about how a mother and a child, a mother address the aspect of, okay, like there's more out there
Right.
than what we have here. And
Right.
I meditate a lot, and I like to stargaze. So always looking at the stars and looking at the sky, that has brought me so much comfort
Mm-hmm.
and understanding in many matters of my life, to the point that, yeah, we are surrounded, we're never alone, we're surrounded by what so those beings or guides, what so
Right.
you want to call them. And you just need to stop, sit, be present a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and listen to what they are actually here to teach us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the Whispers of the Starry Night book came about. So a dialogue between a mother and a child about how the stars have stories never told, and how you can actually learn from them, pretty
Right.
much.
So take away the fear for that child.
Yeah,
That's good. That's very good. And it helps the parent introduce that subject. A lot of the times kids wake up in the middle of the night, there's a boogeyman or a scary man in the closet or under the bed. And just even by explaining about the stars, it could, or the UFOs or the aliens, or even the souls on the other side, it could help the child understand that there's no need to fear. That
yeah,
there's always good there protecting them.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I, I'm a firmer believer on the aspect of duality. I
hmm
do believe that evil might be just one way, that, like, of course there are evil things, there are bad things, but if you actually look through the firm lens of what things are, you see that things are just things, depending on what side and what agenda you're operating from.
hmm
But nevertheless, it doesn't take you from not doing harm or anything. But it's just like, I feel that trying to understand more the core of it
hmm
helps you to have an open mind and approach to things. I don't know
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right. Multiple dimensional beings, whether they are what we call ghost, I'm in the paranormal field, so what we would call a ghost or an entity. It could be chaotic, is what I'd like to call it. I don't like to call it evil, because it could just be a soul that's very angry. Could be a soul that is still hasn't gone to the light and is picking up all the negative from us humans, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes, I'm actually I retook my studies on my graduate program for my bachelor's degree in ufology, and there's a big part on the degree that goes over the paranormal
mhm,
sciences and what. So like you said, we don't call evil spirits or demons that, like, we understand that, uh, like the first law of thermodynamics, energy is not created neither destroyed, it's
right.
just
Energy.
transformed it, like, and I do believe, like you're saying, if you're a nice person here, you're gonna transform. You're gonna just transition to another form of energy, being you, because it's your essence, your personality, and that's so on. Yeah, I agree very much with that statement.
Mm. So, tell us about your experiences. There was something that, I know growing up you were introduced to all the arts, all the faiths, all different religions and stuff. But what made you finally say, yeah, there's more to this than what I've been told or what I see? Or were you just so open to it that it just came naturally?
I think both, and to the understanding that the data that I was receiving wasn't quite full, or you know what I mean. There was always a piece that was missing into the understanding of it, because you see, I believe that we all have capabilities of psychic abilities, but
Hmm.
the big key is whether you're open to observe it and to learn from it or not. And every time that you get, like, decided you open to it, this
Hmm.
kind of like a flower that is opening up, and you start seeing, like, from another angles. So yeah, and then I realized that. So yeah.
Now, your family, did you discuss this stuff with your family, or did you keep it to yourself? I mean, how was it welcomed? That
Like I said, in Brazil, people are very open,
right,
independent if you're raised evangelical, Christian, or
right.
whatever. Because, for example, even till last month, on
Hmm.
the news, there was a old lady talking about how the last night she saw a werewolf. So, like, so I've always discussed things like that with friends, with family, with
Right.
my that side grandma,
Hmm.
that is very psychic as well. For example, many times I would have a dream that a death would occur, and depending on the aspects of the dream, the person that will die, it's either more close to you or not.
Hmm.
And those premonitory dreams, they were always right.
Hmm.
And I noticed that we are more connected than what we imagine
Hmm.
if we pay attention to things, because there's no way you can separate yourself from everything, because
Right.
you're part of it. So
Right.
the only thing that you need to observe is, like, how can you integrate to your reality, other than create the illusion of separation from it, which
Hmm.
does not exist. Which, yeah, some practices could make you believe that you separated from the whole, which is not true.
Right.
But independent of what everybody would think, there was always this thing that I would observe, because I took that to observe
Mhm.
whether other people were just looking TV news,
Mhm.
things like that. And I just chose to take the fast path and abstain myself from things that would hold me back.
Right.
And with that, I would, like, and I always, it's a little bit lonely because you're the one seeing more a little bit and understanding. So yeah, but you always are get aligned energetically with those that are on the same path.
Right.
So you might not be with 20 friends around you, but you definitely have that one friend or two that know exactly what you're talking about, and share from the same perspective, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it is hard when you are able to see things, and you really don't even know how to explain it sometimes. Because you, of course, would have dreams, and you would just say, "Oh, I had a dream," and you just everybody say, "Oh, she's dreaming," so big deal. But to actually then see the results of it, that must have probably got some people, I don't know, a little nervous. But yes, the sense of separation, that's just because they. How else are you going to control the masses, right? How else are you going to um, be able to rule everybody if you don't separate them?
True.
You we have open psychics and mediums and all that. We've always have had those gifts. It just depends on whether you are willing to work with them, like you said, open to it, and also bypass whatever anybody says. You have to be strong enough to say, you know what I know, and you know, there's proof because I say, okay, this is going to happen, and lo and behold, within a few months or a month or a week or whatever, there it is. So, and like you're taking pictures of actual UFOs and other interdimensional entities, uh, and you could prove it right in the picture, which is something that a lot of people will look up and say, "Oh, that's just dust," or "That's just a balloon," or whatever. And the fact that you take it and then you actually uh, take it further and zoom in, and you could see everything. It's very interesting. So um, now, have you seen any of these beings, say, with your husband or your other half? And how did he feel about it?
All right. So, right. Because until you can prove, reason why I said if you want them to materialize in your hologram, they will,
Right,
right? But you need to be open to it. There is
right,
a certain kicker that people do not realize. It is the fear. It's
right.
the limiting belief of fear.
Mm-hmm.
um Everything only happens to the point that you allow that to happen.
Correct.
So my husband, even not noticing and talking to him, he always had some kind of experiences. But like I said, when you are involved on the bigger narrative, you just train not to see them,
Right,
right?
right.
So, funny fact, funny story, little story that I I can share right now is that I was telling him, hey, when I came, because it's a taboo. It's a taboo.
Right,
It's like, okay, I'm kind of inclined spiritually, right? But
right.
there is more things going on. And I didn't actually give it to notice until I realized that they are not just spirits, right? And for example, UFOs, they always came to appearance and manifestation. Like I said, I always looked at the sky. I always had this
Mm-hmm.
connection with, I feel home. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
And there is always those stars that would move weirdly,
right.
you know?
And
And,
you're like, wait a second, stars don't move this way, that way, this way, that way.
and they stop and they go here and they go there.
Right, Yeah.
But and then I was telling my husband like, nah. It's like okay, but let me tell you, I'm gonna ask them because now we're friends. Like when you establish a direct medium of
Right.
communication,
Hmm.
it's way different. So
Yes.
the thing is, and then one night we are summer night. We were outside on our backyard, and we have a little nice area with a fire pit and stuff. And a few airplanes come by over above our house,
Hmm.
and I was telling him, he just no, that's just an airplane because you see the lights and blah blah blah. But there are apps that you can actually track your area
Right.
traffic.
Right.
And I said, you know what? They are very different. They are very different than what an airplane look like. But you know what? Can you guys? And I said, can you guys please just show him?
Right.
Just like that. Can you guys please just show him? And sure enough, there was an airplane passing over above our house, a bit very low. And then out of nowhere, it popped above the airplane, a UFO, and followed with the same speed. And then I told him, that's just amazing. See, that's an airplane, and that's not an airplane.
Right.
Yeah, and they do that. Like the relationship we have, it's to the point that is comical. I have videos to the point that because of how agencies track energy,
Hmm.
when there is a UFO swirling around an area for a little bit more time,
Right.
there is some black color aircraft that
Right.
come around and
Right.
to see what is going on. And I even have a video of one of those because you think, oh no, there's just an airplane. No, but like since when an airplane is just following its course and do like that to
Right.
follow the frame of my camera? I
Uh-huh.
don't know how. And I
Right.
have this kind of videos and data, and that was, but yeah, but my husband, after he started actually being my wingman on stuff, he started to see even like anomalies of um, radio frequency.
Hmm.
I don't know if you have experienced that when you can be here, but like if you move a little bit, you kind of can hear kind of like a
Yeah.
radio
Yeah.
frequency that
Hmm.
is not actually there,
Right.
but you can hear it.
Right.
And that happened to us and things like that. So, like to the point that he kind of doesn't question anything anymore. He's actually my biggest supporter
Right.
on whether I need equipment or something like that.
Right.
So yeah,
Good. Good.
yeah,
Yeah. So he was one of those that was like, oh no, 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 and then you showed him. Good. Good. But that's what you need, right? You need just to hopefully have the other person um, have enough patience to open up for just a second or two.
and those
And
things are very real. I'm sorry to cut you off, but they're very real. The issue is that like how open are you to experience that?
right. Now, have you been on a ship ever?
Yeah,
Yes.
a few times.
Okay. And you want to talk about those experiences?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Um, there's one that happened December,
Mhm.
the end of December of 2023. It was just comical. Like we think that's what I'm saying. Like interdimensionals, they do share a humor. People take them too seriously.
Uh-huh.
And I think that it should not, because for you to be able to outlive everybody and be serious, I think it's like
Yeah.
you can't,
Mhm.
take things too serious. So anyways, so I remember this experience. I can tell you like how it looks like inside. That I woke up, I was in some sort of a table,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Some sort of a table, but this table was inside of other enclosed something that half of it was kind of like a stainless steel brushed color, but was lighter than stainless steel, and the other
Okay.
part of it was a darker glass.
Right.
And when I woke up and I sat up, I was kind of like, oh, cool, I woke up. I woke up. Like the sense I had is like, nice, I finally woke up. And then when I looked to my in front of me, there was this being, what we would describe as a tall gray. But
Okay.
funny fact, their skin is not like all gray. Right?
Right.
There are little blemishes, like some things. I don't know how to explain the word a little bit towards the mold color, the green, the
Mm-hmm.
mold green was
Hmm.
somewhat of it. It wasn't like plain gray like we see a dolphin or anything, but
Right. Right.
was like that. And then he was kind of like static because, and the communication happened telepathically. And then I looked at it and I said, hey, I can see you. And then he was like that, and he, okay. And then he relaxed, like, okay, you can see me. Okay, fine. And I'm not freaking out. And then I said, okay, so what is going on? And one funny observation I'd like to make, because sometimes we think, because I till then, 2023,
Right.
I didn't have a real, I think, experience of telepathy, because the thing is, you can receive notions of what things are, or sometimes can come like as phrases or images
Mm-hmm.
or stuff, which is very different than what telepathic communication is, I came to
Mm-hmm.
find out, because that being had a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't just like words that I received and I understood what he was
Right.
trying to say, but there was his voice, like I'm talking to you right now inside of my
Right.
head. And that being, I'd say, had a voice of Barry.
Okay.
I could say it like Barry, like a young male type.
Okay.
And I know that I asked, so what is going on? And then he had something like the size of a computer mouse.
Right.
And he was like, anyways, I'm not gonna go in details, but he sort of explained what was going on, and then my only question was, will that hurt? And then he was like that, like for reals, like
Yeah.
really, you
Yeah.
asking me that? And then I started like sort of freaking out, because that happens, like for reals, like that's gonna hurt. And then I just noticed that he just kind of like, really, and then I got
And
knocked.
they knocked you out.
Yeah. And then I woke up, like when you wake up, you're not awake, and then you're not, from that you have dreams, like you wake up from that,
Right.
and then you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that the first thing I remember say, hey, I wasn't here. And then my husband say, what? And then without even saying much, he got up, because he got up and went to the closet where we keep our personal safety firearm,
Right.
and like a good American. And the first thing, without saying nothing, he got the case, the case, and put by his bed. And then he was, what? It's like, and then I was just observing. It's like, what is going on? And then I told him like, that and that just happened.
Right.
And I was, because usually things happen that sometimes you come back with some marks, right?
Right. You come back with a birthmark or some constellation or something. Yeah.
Yeah, just like this week I had something
Yeah.
here. Anyways, that's normal, doesn't hurt, they don't hurt me. Anyways, but then when he looked into, like, his wrist was purple.
Mm.
But why his first reflex was to go and get the gun.
Because deep down he was in fear, and he was like, "There's somebody here, and I need to protect."
No, but the thing is, I thought that, because the thing is, it's not the first time. Because the thing is, when there is occasion that we need to go for a ride,
Right.
they always come right before. If you notice, they always are present right before you fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I don't fall asleep.
I prefer. Even nowadays, I prefer because my mind is always trying to oversee what is coming next.
Right.
So for me, I just prefer, okay, just if I can just take a nap for now, and if
That's
there's
good.
something that is necessary for me to remember, I'm open to
Right.
it. But I'm very chill because, anyways. So the first instinct that he had was to get the gun. So like what I thought is that, okay, I think he woke up during some part of it and had some kind of issue. And funny thing is that the whole house overslept. And if you have kids, I don't know if you have kids,
Yeah, yeah. So they're adults now, but yeah.
but
Yeah,
they
I
wake
remember
up.
they
They
never
wake up every
oversleep.
day.
They never oversleep.
No, they never oversleep, and they wake up every day at the same time.
Right.
Right? So at this day, everybody kind of overslept in the house
Mm. Uh,
for a lot. So like, yeah, something definitely happened, and there was an actual part of the sky that had a rectangular rainbow
okay, nice.
from like my view of that what it is. And then after that, I started like, because there are things that come as far as um memory
Mhm.
recalls and stuff like that, like the necessary, because the thing is, before I had lots of issues on after,
Mhm.
because for example, I don't know if you have shared the same, the spirituality and observing things, it's kind of like a lonely path,
Mhm.
and you grow up with your social DNA as, hey, you need
Mhm.
social and blah blah blah. But what I mean is that every time I went there and came back, I always missed it, and I always had this like, okay, because like, I feel home,
Right.
and then always you come back to like, why, like, why I'm back, but it took me a while to adjust that. And I feel, even with the many experiences I've had, but yeah, it takes time. It just ultimately takes time for you
Mhm.
to and for every person is a different aspect,
Yes.
um, you know but yeah, so that was an experience. The craft inside is different than what people, depending, because I've been inside of different crafts.
Hmm.
There is a smaller craft that would resemble the egg format. It's
Right.
not quite round, it's not quite,
Mm.
you know
Oblong, sort of. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And there's this craft that you can actually drive, pilot,
Mm-hmm.
that has nothing on the dash, but there's like a kind of like rectangular square that when you put your hands on, it lights up, and you
Hmm.
kind of integrate with the craft.
Right.
I have had this experience as well, and as well, and bigger, I think people would call motherships, and what,
Motherships.
so
Yes.
yeah, I've had this kind of experience in side crafts.
Yeah. Now, motherships are very interesting. They're big and they have a lot of different sections. So,
Yeah, many movies they actually show
mm,
how it's inside, and
mhm,
because you don't know what it is, you just see and that's it.
mhm,
But the mothership, there are parts on the mothership that it's literally, the alien versus predator type ship, that is, everything's kind of metal, and you
mhm,
walk on the metal, and there are parts that are that way,
mhm.
and then you walk to get into where you want to
Right.
go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you were the first one was like a hospital ship. The one that you were on the table, they usually try to heal something, either that or since you're definitely connect more with other planets than you do with Earth. They are probably saying, okay, well, let's figure out where she's really from. So you never know. But yes, they do love to heal people. especially if there's a mission, if there's a reason you're here in particular. Maybe you're trying to help humanity in some way, you're trying to bring a message in some way. Um, it's not always, thank God, at least for me, it's never been bad. My experiences, they have been very good, very comforting, especially the fact that I always knew we were not alone, but that proved those little trips proved it to me anyway. So um, now, do you see those marks go away, or do they stay for a while?
They go away. The big question when I show some of the friends and acquaintances is that I'm so sorry. Is it hurting? It's like it doesn't hurt.
Right.
It doesn't hurt. For instances, I've notices. I've noticed marks from the age that they would appear with interactions
Right.
at the age of 17.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, depending on the marks, where the marks appear, they do have kind of like the why of and the purpose and the reason why they are there and which symbol show up. I've noticed that there is a cycle of every 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
at least with me, because the thing is, we have to understand that right now the culture we have it became very distant to connection
Mm-hmm.
to
To,
everything.
to oneness.
The one is
Right.
so like some people might not give the credit of astrology and cycles as
Mm-hmm.
they actually have, that there is and that's how we function. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
very cyclical. Everything is about patterns,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the four seasons,
Right.
you don't have summer all the time, you don't have fall and neither winter, and those cycles, they represent aspects of our environment, and how and energy and what. So I've also noticed the certain moon phases, they
Mm-hmm.
are more propitious, or they actually hold the space for interactions depending on what kind of interaction you're having.
Mm-hmm.
And the like I said, everything is connected, and they work in a way that energy allows it and serves as gates, as doors, and the thing is, you do not use the energy.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you kind of like mold. It's kind of like that. I like to see the way that you kind of, going on a waterfall, and they have the river. You don't try to control that. You
Right.
can possibly can't. The only thing that you can do is learn how to navigate it.
Right.
The only thing.
Right.
And once you gain the understanding of the need for integration, not control, because
Right.
you have to let it go.
Because there is no control. That's just, it's just there is no, you cannot control anything.
Yeah.
And so you could manage it, you could manage how you react to it or not react to it. You could manage whether you accept it or not, but there is no control.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel that the reason that most people report being paralyzed during interactions is because they are on the fight flight like thing.
right.
And for them to preserve or physical integrity and even mental integrity,
Right.
sometimes they have to, hey, stop, child,
Right.
calm
They just
down.
freeze and hope it goes away. Hope it goes away.
Yeah, so this kind of interact, yeah, it's just everything pretty much about energy, and you have to let go. You
Okay.
have to let go, and you have to understand that you have no control over it, neither whatsoever on how, the only choice you have is to release and integrate.
Hmm.
Once you release and integrate, you
Hmm.
can understand in a deeper aspect of how those pathways, energetic pathways, they work. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, when you understand, you can like, okay, let me go a little bit here to the right or a little here to the
Mm-hmm.
left, and you know, let me observe without judging. That's a very valuable skill I've learned throughout the years,
Yes.
because that affects very much how you project your hologram
Mm-hmm.
on your experience. So if you're able just to be present and sit down
Mm-hmm.
and observe without judgment, it's a big one. If somebody would ask me how to start noticing those little patterns and things
Yeah,
around you.
exactly. And that's the thing. It's like even when you see plants grow, you plant the seed, right? And then you water it and you tender it and all that, and you see time by itself. It just pops up. A plant pops up. But
Hmm.
people take it for granted. They don't suddenly they just appear. They don't understand, they don't pay attention to all the different steps that had to take in order for that plant to flourish and give flowers and all that other stuff. And that's the same thing with everything in life. Um, being a healing facilitator, because I don't like to call myself a healer. I facilitate the energy so the person's higher self can accept it. Um, I understand that everything has energy and everything is energy. Our emotions, our traumas, obstacles, what we see and what we don't see. Because sometimes we could see this crystal right here and we don't focus on that. We focus on something else. We focus on the negative instead of focusing on the positive. So by you deciding to be more open, you're now focusing on what's out there instead of what everybody has been programmed only to observe. So that's why it's good, and it's good that you got your hubby into it.
Yeah, he's my wingman always. Always, I'm very grateful that he has the capacity to you know, so
Yeah.
he might not be active with me on the experiments because I usually do that by myself as far as because of how energy flows, but
Hmm.
he's the one that, okay, go, oh, I need that, okay, go, I'm going, okay, go, and
Right.
he just,
He supports you, which is good.
yeah.
This is very good. Now, you, like I said, you wrote the book. Now, you planning to write another book, or
Yeah. So that's the thing. I've been about 2 years into experimenting and documenting this process, which for now I would call the psi, the value of psi, dimensional theory.
mm-hmm.
I'd say theory because I do have data to support it.
Right?
The thing is, humans, the vessel, the human vessel, is more than what would people would deem as a cage or something that is
Right.
entrapping you. But rather than that, I'd say that our vessel or container is a tool. It's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And with the understanding of it and the experiences I have, I'm very firm to state that there's no separation between biological and synthetic.
Right.
Everything has been created with a reason, for a
Mm-hmm.
reason and a purpose. Therefore, depending on how good is your tech is, as far as to look how you perceive it's biological or not,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I'm sorry, what was the question, my ADHD? No, the book. Okay.
Oh, my.
So I've been documenting those, and I've been experimenting with alchemical processes like alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
So your body alchemizes and participates in alchemical processes.
Mm-hmm.
Depends if you eating something or smelling something, or
Right.
just and things they interact with simple things, just like the sun rays and light,
Right.
and that the way that you interfere with it, and how you're able to be a conduit to frequency and actually
Mhm.
stimulate frequencies or not, it
Mhm.
gives you access to things.
Right.
And I'm not sure if I'm gonna write a scientific paper about it, or if that it's gonna become a book or scientific paper. But it's coming together. Part of which I'm work. I need to launch the At and Wonder social media
Right.
May now, and after that I need to continue with the project of creating this tool that will
Right.
allow me to visually document things that I'm writing about, which I do have. But I feel that for having a scientific value and
Mhm.
being, credible, you need to have other types of data and more
Yeah.
explanation to be replicable. Therefore, that can serve its purpose as far as
Right.
and how I achieve the things that I can achieve as far as connection, and how other people can um, experience the same for themselves.
Very
That's
good. Very good. That sounds like a very good book in the making. So,
yeah,
and it's good because you are documenting a lot of stuff and you are taking pictures and videos and, you know, and then writing, journaling your experience while that doing that, which is, very different, could be very different for somebody else. Somebody could see the picture and see different um, UFOs or different interdimensional being because their frequency is just a little different than yours at that moment. So, yeah, so very good.
yeah.
Now, we are coming towards the end of the show. Is there anything else you wish to just tell the audience?
That was quick. Not much really. Just have fun, be more experimental. Things are not as serious as it seems to be. There is a real thing about frequency and how your energy interferes with the connection you're trying to create.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is a big one. You can the at least the ones I interact with, they literally tell me it's like, we're not gonna do anything or show up if you have fear, because we
Right.
respect it's your boundary. And
Right.
that's one thing that I think that people do not understand, is that um,
Everything has free will.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that the things that are benevolent to
Mm-hmm.
your journey, they
Mm-hmm.
will respect your boundaries.
Yes. They will. Well, thank you. And just hold on for a second as I say good night to the audience. Please remember we're here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And please share and support us and look for Madel's book. And she's going to get it out this year. I know it.
Hopefully.
Anytime soon. They're going to be. So good night. And just please hold on for a second. Love you all. Bye.